Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 78. My name is Jason Erpelding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. I'm here with Scott Ferrioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and BuyandSellDVC.com.
Today is August 10th, 2022, and the 11-month window from today is going to be July 10th, 2023, and the 7-month window is going to be March 10th, 2023. And if you're wondering, if you're coming to Orlando, it may be a little bit quieter at the parks. I don't know. Orange County Schools return to school today. So just an FYI for those visiting. And remember to hit the like button, to hit the subscribe button. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can find us everywhere.
Yep.
So we're going to jump right into the buy and sell side of things. And a question, people ask is, when is the right time to buy into DVC? Well, there is no perfect answer to that question, but the best answer is, number one, you want to know the details of DVC before buying in. You want to know, the basic rules of how to use the program, where you want your home resort to buy, the number of points you want, the use share, and really, the right time to buy is when you're ready. Now, most people, if they get to the point where they do want to become an owner, they want to buy in so they can use their points for their next trip, whether that be to Disney World or to Disneyland to visit the places with the wonderful kids meals. So you want to typically buy in before your next trip. That way the membership can start paying for itself. But I will tell you, I've been doing this since 2004. I wish I knew when the right time was that the market may have a slight dip but consistently over time, the graph is going to look like this. The sooner you buy in, typically the better, because, if you look 2 years from now, the prices are probably going to be more per point than they are right now. And, of course, sometimes if you're looking for a certain resort and there's a lot of listings available, that's when you're going to have the best chance to possibly get a, lower than average price per point, versus if you're looking and there's only, a handful of listings for that resort. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Plus, always remember, you can make an offer and then you may make an offer and it may not work out. Well, you can always move on to the next seller, things like that. Plus, you can find a listing with banked points. Those are generally more attractive than the listings that don't have points for a year. So, but the bottom line is, the best time to buy into DVC is when you're aware of the program, how it works, and the listing that you want to purchase. That's when I would say to start making the move, to clicking on the button to make an offer, so you can get that property purchase closed, and you can book your next trip to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, trying to time the market would be like trying to time the stock market. You never know when the best time to buy is. I mean, most DVC members will say that their regret is that they wish that they had bought sooner. And I wish we had bought sooner as well. But I always have to keep telling myself, that's my thing, is that we bought when the time was right for us. So it's you can't. Hindsight's 20/20. You can't go back and go, man, I wish I bought earlier. If I bought earlier, we got a better price. If this would have happened, if I waited 3 months, you just have to buy when it's right for you. And what's good is it's not like the stock market where you're just worried about the price fluctuation. You're getting discounted Disney vacations this whole time as well. So,
and plus, once you start packing on the memories, you're not going to remember even when you purchased or what you purchased for. I just spoke to a seller recently, and I will tell you that they owned at Alani, and so Alani has an ownership that has a subsidized, so if they bought before a certain time, then you have subsidized dues. So I asked them, when they purchased, and they said, 1998, and I said, well, unfortunately, you didn't purchase at Alani in 1998 because Alani didn't exist then. So, but that's the good news, is they didn't know when they purchased. So, once you buy in, you start stacking up the memories, and it's just going to be your, your ownership, your vacation, it's all gonna be about the memories at that point. So now we're on to Scott's food review of the week, and hopefully we have some good news this week.
Ty, do your magic thing.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
So after last week's debacle of the worst food I've ever had, which was the Matterhorn macaroon from Jolly Holiday Bakery, I said, today, why don't we go back to Jolly Holiday Bakery, where this is the Raspberry Rose Mickey macaron, which is different than a macaroon. Macaroon's all coconut. This is, those the little little cake cookies that they had them at the Christmas party where we went to the Christmas. We saw the Christmas lights.
Okay, yes.
Remember the little macarons, the little colored things that the jelly inside.
Yes.
They're where you bite them and they're kind of crispy on the outside, but then really soft inside. That's them. This was a big, giant Mickey head one with raspberry rose, almond filling, and fresh raspberries inside. Now I think they have something very similar to this in Epcot at the Boulangerie des Patissiers in France. Right, I have not tried it before, but again, I watched a lot of videos online, and this one looked really good.
Research.
You have to do your research. So if you do your research, you won't try that Matterhorn macaroon. So this is nice crispy shell, soft inside, raspberry almond flavor, had the fresh raspberries in there. This was absolutely wonderful. This was honestly one of the best snacks I've ever had so far. I give this a 9.3. And the other one was a 2.1. So to go from a 2.1 to a 9.3 is a huge swing. So it's kind of amazing how one bakery can kind of have something that's so fantastic and something that just sucks. So very happy with this. Again, I wanted to go back to Jolly Holiday because they had several other items that looked interesting that I didn't get to try. But if you are in Disneyland and you're at Jolly Holiday, definitely try this out and avoid that Matterhorn mess.
And now we're on to the DVC-Rental side of things.
Okay, so for now, we're going to be back at Disneyland again. I'm going to stop talking about Disneyland for the next couple episodes at least. I have a lot of food to go over from Disneyland, so I'm going to keep peppering that in there. But this was my first experience actually using Genie Plus / Lightning Lane. Again, I live locally, so I've never wanted to pay to use the Genie Plus here. We did not purchase any of the individual Lightning Lanes, to use for web slingers or anything, like $18 per ride to do some of the things. But we use the heck out of the regular ones. Now at Disneyland, it's $15 per day versus I believe $20 per day in Walt Disney World. One of the main differences is that in Disney World, you're able to go on your phone and as of 7 o'clock in the morning, you can make your first pass. At Disneyland, you actually have to be inside the park to make your first selection for Genie Plus. It's very, very similar to the old Fast Pass system. Not the ticket one, but when they had it on your phone where, say it's 9 o'clock in the morning and I have a Lightning Lane for 9 a.m. at Indiana Jones. Once I scan in with my family, you scan your phones, they give you a little barcode for each person. You scan in, and once you do that, you can immediately start booking your next Fast Pass, essentially, your next Lightning Lane. So we're in our group, we'd immediately all scan in, and then while you're in line, we're already setting up the next one. And a lot of times the next one could have been for, 15 minutes down the road. So, we were able to kind of get them consecutive, we were right after each other. It helped us get on a ton of rides. It was absolutely fantastic. And again, I haven't used this at Walt Disney World, but it would work the same exact way, and I would highly recommend it, especially for a park that's got a lot of rides like Magic Kingdom. For an Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, something with less rides, maybe not as effective, but for a Disneyland Magic Kingdom or Disney World Magic Kingdom where you've got a lot of rides in the park, this thing was a lifesaver. Super fast, super easy to use. And I wanted to mention we were on the monorail at Disneyland. And there was a family next to me, and she was trying to figure out the Genie Plus. So I only used it one day at that point. I started talking to her, and I was explaining how it works and how it's relatively simple. And she was like, there was a lady in her hotel. She was staying at one of the Disneyland hotels. I don't know which one. But she said she was complaining to customer service how horrible Genie Plus works, how horrible it is. It doesn't work. It's terrible. And I was like, we've used it one day and it was absolutely fantastic. So as long as you know what you're doing, and you don't sit there and you go, oh, there's Indiana Jones 8 hours from now, I'm going to book that. I mean, it's relatively simple. Now, if you book something far in advance, I'll give another example. Say it's 10 o'clock in the morning and the ride you want is at 6 p.m., which is not normally the case, but there's a large gap in there. You don't have to wait until you check in on that ride to book your next one. You have to wait 2 hours. So the most you'll ever wait is a 2-hour gap in there. So as long as you don't pick something late in the day, you can essentially, just go through each land and just kind of chop and get your way across to the next ride. And I mean, it worked really, really well. I was very happy with this. Again, worked like the old Fast Pass system used to work when it was online and digital. So super happy with this.
Did your phone lose its battery life pretty quick, or?
It did not, luckily.
Okay.
But in all fairness, my wife was doing it on her phone. You have one person from each group who's the designated person to do it, but she did not go through her battery very quickly as well. So, I mean, if your phone, we have a newer phone and the battery's been pretty good on them. So, I mean, if you know your phone goes through battery pretty quickly, definitely bring like a charger with you. And we were planning on bringing a charger with us, but we accidentally left it at home. But luckily, we didn't need it. So it didn't go through a ton of battery. Online system was great. And again, Disneyland, especially places like, in Disneyland Park where they've got so many attractions. The problem is that there's a lot of the rides that are not part of the Genie Plus system. Like barely anything in Fantasyland is on there for some reason. So Mr. Toad, Snow White, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, none of those are on Lightning, little Genie Plus system. But very, first time using it, very happy with it so far.
I just really want to finish the episode by just sharing a story that we just learned that what happened with Scott's family. Because I'm sure there's been a lot, I see in the different discussion groups, it seems like, flights are getting canceled or this or that. But I don't know if you guys know, but in Orlando, not too long ago, to get into the airport, basically it was shut down. Like the cars were there and then the cars couldn't move. And I just found out that Scott was one of the cars, but he did not attempt to get out of his car and walk up there with his luggage. But I don't know if you want to tell some of that story.
We had a 7 o'clock in the morning flight and we got to the airport at like 4:30 in the morning. And we were on airport property, like a couple hundred, maybe 100, 200 yards away from the parking lot. And we just stopped dead traffic. And we just sat there for over 3 hours. Nobody knew what was going on. There was nothing on the news yet. There was nothing at all. And we just sat there and waited. And it was like, all right, looks like we're going to miss that flight. Checked on called flight with Delta. We called Delta. It's 9 o'clock flight. Nope, that one's sold out already. So what's the next one? 4:30 in the afternoon. So by the time we finally got into the airport, and once we got to the traffic finally opened back up, and we got into the parking lot, and then the parking lot ride to the airport is normally, I'd say, a 5-minute ride. It took us over an hour because of the traffic. So by the time we finally got from the lot into the airport, we had to wait about 9 hours for our next flight. So we were sitting there in our car at 4:30 in the morning, and the flight that we ended up taking out left at 4:30 in the afternoon. So we spent a good 12 hours on Orlando airport property. So that was a lot of fun.
Thought that was an interesting story.
It wasn't interesting. It was terrible.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to come back next week to see some more fantastic food that Scott will find either at Disney World or Disneyland.
I also say a special thank you to Eileen, who was on my way home, my Delta flight attendant, who owned at Alani and has a subsidized contract and was chatting with DVC about her. She saw my email address and asked if I did with DVC, and we had a whole conversation with her. Her name was Eileen. She was absolutely wonderful, but she's an Alani subsidized owner.
Oh, that's awesome.
You never know who you're going to meet.
That's fantastic.
Thanks,
so I'm just curious, she knew that she owned, because a lot of people don't even know they own a subsidized.
She knew she had a subsidized contract, so yep, she's
that's
one
awesome.
of the early ones on, and she knew it. So yep, you never know who you're going to meet out there.
Yeah.
Yep, so
Fantastic. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.